Welcome to today's podcast. This is Mark Larranaga, Senior Manager for Topcon on our asphalt paving business development team. We're really excited to have Brandt, our dealer from Canada, as well as All Roads, a customer that's been using our technology, to join us today. And so I'd like to go ahead and introduce everyone that's going to be on the podcast. If I can open with Mark Piotto, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and then letting All Roads do their introductions as well.
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. Mark Piotto, Director of Sales for Positioning Technologies, Construction Technology for Brandt Positioning up here in Canada. I currently managing the country for all construction automation, and very excited to be part of this first podcast. So thanks for having us. Denis Labelle and Rod Stevens, I'll let them introduce themselves, but awesome partners to be working with during this product launch here. And I'll let Denis go ahead. Denis?
My name is Denis Labelle, Operations Manager with All Roads Construction. Not much else to say other than we're excited to talk about the technology and our experiences using it on a big project we had out here in British Columbia.
And it's Rod Stevens here. I'm the president of All Roads. And likewise, with you gentlemen, this is kind of an exciting time to be alive. It's interesting to see technology work in the construction industry, and we were excited to use the various products, and we're looking forward to talking about it and raising awareness of what technology can do and how it can help contractors.
Thank you guys both for introducing yourselves. I would ask you, the first question I was curious about is, I know that we hosted an event down in Las Vegas that you guys got a flavor of what the technology could do, but could you guys explain a little bit better as to why you guys invested in technology and what you guys did to research to actually change the way you guys are actually doing paving?
Sure, I'll let Denis go first. He was the one who went down into the States to watch the product being used. So let's let him go first, and I'll fill in any blanks.
Yeah, I mean, originally it all started when we were low bid on a major project here in British Columbia, and Mark approached our group with the SmoothRide technology and said it was a perfect fit for this project, as it was just an overlay project with no milling. Then he decided to fly us out to Las Vegas to kind of do a live demo. So before the Con Expo event, we had already been kind of aware of what the technology could do, and just learning more about it with the design guys they had in Las Vegas kind of helped us make the decision that it would be a good idea to use the technology on this project.
Now, Denis, as you guys, obviously were low bid and you had the project, what made you kind of research different technologies to actually look at possibly doing something different than what traditionally most of our contractors are doing? And that's really a very traditional, they mill and pave. And in this case, on your project, it was only a pave or it's a rehab project. What did you look at that made you kind of consider maybe thinking of approaching this project different?
Well, we're a pretty forward-thinking group at All Roads. In my entire career, 27 plus years, I've always been very successful when you try things that are outside the box. So we try to do that a lot. And we try to teach it amongst our people here. And then when Mark brought it up and explained what it could do, it was a very complicated project, and it was very minimal times. We basically had 7-hour windows to pave the road, which included, putting in the lane closures, getting all the gear moved onto site, paving, taking all the gear off site, and then then opening up the road. So in 7 hours, that's not a lot of time to do some paving. It was an average of about an hour and a half to put the lane closure in and an hour and a half to take it out. So that basically made our paving window 4 hours long. So you can't get a whole bunch of production, which means a lot more joints and, harder to get smoothness and so on. So we needed something that we could focus on paving and not focus on looking behind the paver to see what our thicknesses were and whether we were putting down a smooth mat or not. So this technology, showed us that we could do that proactively. So once we figured out the designing portion of it and how I guess simple it was to a certain degree, we decided it would be a good fit. So as a group, we got together and weighed out the pros and cons and decided that we had nothing to lose. And if it worked, then it would set us apart from our competition at the same time.
And maybe one thing that we can add, just to let the listeners understand the project perhaps a little better as well, is it's 78 lane kilometers and there's 90,000 vehicles a day that go on that road. So when it's one thing to bid a job, it's one thing to get the job, but then to build it sometimes is a different task in itself. And going back to everything that Denis said here so far, our collective goal was to be leaders in technology. And thanks to Mark Piotto and Brandt helping us understand this technology, we felt that there was other intangibles that we wanted to tap into and influence in a sense. And one was just the energy and the vibe that our crews have, the morale, and the momentum of a group that continually shows technology at work. And we had this very difficult project to try and pull off and make a success out of. And so for all those reasons, it was the right fit for this project.
So I've got a question with regards to all of that. And guys, thank you for the kind words. The biggest thing as a dealer that we face is, when we talk about this technology to contractors is, well, it's not in the specs, or the Ministry of Transportation, or in the States, the Department of Transportation, the DOTs, they don't have it in their specs and it's not needed. We're already achieving bonuses or whatever the excuses are to not invest in technology. Two-part question. One, why did you do it even though it wasn't in the spec? And two, how did you get the ministry to agree to do the project with the technology versus traditional ways that we've been doing it for 50 years?
Well, I mean, for me, it was a bit of a process with the ministry. Everybody's skeptical, and everybody's worried about the cost of it, and everybody's worried about whether it's going to work or not. So there was a lot of questions. For me, the concept was a no-brainer for us. If it actually performed the way it should perform, it just made complete sense. And so what we had to do with the ministry was we had to put proposal packages together for the technology. And so there wasn't a lot of information to give other than what we could do. But what we did was we went ahead of time and we scanned the road, and then we showed cross sections of the existing highway and what it was and what it was going to take to get the job done. So we were very clear that at that time that their specifications weren't realistic, and we could not achieve them, physically impossible. So we showed it to them on paper that we couldn't do that, and this technology would make it very clear on how we could achieve it and what it would take to achieve it before we even put a rock down onto the road. So they liked the concept. They asked us to do a test strip, which obviously you were a part of, and we did one in a small town or a city in Chilliwack in BC here, and it was a great success. The ministry came out, witnessed the technology, and they got very excited for it, and then they approved our proposal to utilize it, and the rest is history. Then we went out onto the project and used it.
And if I can just add to that, really it came down to making them aware of the technology and then how the technology benefits them, because they always think as contractors we're trying to benefit ourselves, and obviously we are, but they wanted to know what would they gain by allowing this technology when it isn't written in their specs. And it did mean that they'd have to change certain parameters of their specs, like application rates, which like on a project like this, you would maybe have the project broken up into 70 to 100 different lots. And now they were a little concerned that they would lose this control of the application and how much asphalt went down. And so just through some repetitive training, and they understood what the program could do and how the pavers would react. Everybody's anxiety level, if you will, and or buy-in to using technology, definitely in the end, it settled down and they could see the benefit.
Guys, that's just wonderful to hear that. And I know that being that this was your first project, that was honestly just a really tremendous accomplishment you guys had, as well as Brandt. I would ask this one question: is in the times we're at within COVID, in that we can't necessarily be there for training, can you kind of describe a little bit about how Brandt helped you guys learn the way that this new solution would work, being that maybe there wasn't as much hands-on?
I mean, for me, I don't think people realize the magnitude of what we did for a first project, but a 78 kilometers of highway, and to design that entire section was quite the undertaking. But Mark put together a pretty great team. I think we met every other day for 2 weeks just to go over the design. We did all the training online. We had our in-house, we have 2 in-house designers within our group. Mark has one within his group, and then the Topcon team, we all got together and made sure that we understood the technology. We took our time. I mean, it was a big project. It was a big design. I think we had to break it up into like 12 different sections just to make it manageable enough, and then overlap them. But at the end of the day, we had I think the key is that we had the time to do it all, even though it was down to the wire. But
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. So, but there was a good collaborative effort on everybody's part, and anytime we ran into any issues, there was always somebody there to answer our questions, and everybody was diligent, and it was quite a big team that came online every other day to discuss our problems, and we just worked through them. And Topcon has some pretty knowledgeable guys that always had the answers to our questions. So it was stressful, but good experience when you look back on it.
Yeah. Denny and Rod, thank you for those answers. I would ask to kind of wrap this up, give us a little bit of the conclusion of what the project, how it kind of finished up. I know that you guys had expectations as far as what you thought you were going to go into it, and then once you added this solution, it definitely made things a lot faster, quicker. If you wouldn't mind sharing that, that would be wonderful to tell the group.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, 100% sold on the technology. We use it every chance we get, even after the big highway project was done. We're scanning roads, we're creating files. For me, the project itself, I couldn't be more proud of the project we put forward to the ministry. We put it out on time. Our bonus penalties were really good. Our application rates were within 0.4% of the design that we created. The survey aspect of the technology that helped us lay out all the lane lines was amazing. I think we would have really struggled with that because you're trying to offset lane lines on the side of the highway with 2 constant live lanes of traffic, which would have made it difficult to even do layout on the highway. So I think just all in all, I'm very pleased. Our production, I'd say we more than doubled our production that we anticipated, or that anybody even thought we would get. So it was, for me, it was just an all around good experience. We had a few kind of minor issues at the beginning, but they were to be expected. But the whole team got together and we worked them out. We ironed them out, and by after the first week of paving, we were a pretty fine oiled machine there out there on the highway.
And I'd like to add to what Denis said there. We've got a lot of compliments from even our competitors saying, wow, that is a smooth ride. And how did you accomplish it? And you sure seem to be paving fast. And when you think about those comments, that's really what all we wanted to be able to do. We wanted to stand out again and use technology to help us. You have to keep in mind these 78 lane kilometers, the road did this. And we had only a certain amount of volume, which we had no say in, that the ministry picked for us. So from a materials handling perspective, we only had the 53,000 tons they were going to give us. They give us a road like this, and they want us to meet smoothness specs. So we go back to the question of technology and how did it help us? Right from the beginning, we knew we only had one shot, one pass with that paver. That was it. And there was no pre-milling. So a lot of projects similar to this would have you go and pre-mill. And we know that that would help you get smoothness, but we didn't have that option here. So we had one pass with those pavers, and we had to hit it bang on every time, every day, all time. And the technology is what helped us be able to consistently produce that final product. And when you have a road that does this as well, what we really appreciated was one of our biggest areas of bonus was no segregation. So people always think about SmoothRide. But no segregation is because we knew that with the design, we knew that we would have a minimum amount of asphalt over even those high points. And so you never get that kind of rock on rock banging each other and giving you those segregated areas because we pre-designed it. So we knew what our minimum thicknesses had to be. And when you have that average traveling person, tax-paying citizen driving down the road, they say it's smooth. I feel like I'm floating. And at the same time, like the texture is amazing and you can hear it when you drive as well. So all of those components wrapped together really all came from technology. And we thank Brandt, we thank Topcon, we thank the group for introducing us to that technology. And we're firm believers. We want others, we even want our competitors to pick up the product lines and help our industry continue to progress, because that's what leaders really do, is they help inspire other leaders to pick up the momentum and keep moving forward. So it's our challenge to all our competitors to use the technology, and collectively, even though we're competitors, we can work at improving the technology and giving the taxpayer better, smoother, longer lasting roads.
Rod, I couldn't thank you enough for saying those words, and we truly appreciate what All Roads has done, and Brandt being your partner. We are very, very excited about the future in this business. And I'll say this, anyone that's listening to this podcast, All Roads is up for several awards because of the way they approached this project. And it was them embracing technology. It was their dealer that supported them to get them, trained and into what it could do and what it couldn't do. And we are looking forward to the future. And thank you, Canada. Thank you, BC, for everything you guys have done as far as giving a chance for technology to kind of change the way that we approach things. And Rod and Danny, you guys have been great partners. Brandt as well.
Denny, you guys, Rod, you guys are continuing to use the technology, even though that project is done. And I know we're out of time, but maybe there's some snippets in here that we're going to talk about. So now that you're done that Highway 1 project, which was tremendous success for you guys and for us, you're moving forward. You have your milling machine, which is rigged up for millimeter GPS and SmoothRide. You've got your pavers rigged up for both. You're continuing to use the technology. How are you doing? What's your latest project right now that you've discovered the benefits of SmoothRide?
So I know what you're talking about here. We're doing a piece of highway for the Trans Mountain Pipeline project. We're subcontractors on it, but what we found out with the SmoothRide technology is we could grade a road using millimeter GPS and creating a surface file. But what we can do, rather than go scan that gravel and pave on top of it, we can take the surface file from the millimeter GPS, import it into the SmoothRide software, and then we can create our own surface file for the SmoothRide system based off of the surface file that the grader was using. So because of the accuracy, the millimeter GPS can grade a section of highway, roadway. We could pave it just as accurately using the same file without scanning it. So it was just kind of something we were just kind of brainstorming, me and Shiraz, one of our designers, and we thought we'd try it out. And it worked out fantastic. We created the file off the surface file, imported it into the pavers, and then we paved on top of the gravel. And it was, I think we were like bang on our quantities, did a good job. It went really well. So I was very excited that we were able to kind of be a little creative and find a new way to use the technology so we can utilize it even more than we already plan on using it. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Now you are going to need to, sorry, Mark, you are going to need to scan that road after your second lift so you can joint where there's a tie-in. You're going to need to create that design.
So basically on this project, there's a base lift, an intermediate lift, and a top lift. So what we did was we created a design using the surface files for the base lift and the intermediate lift. Once that's complete, then we'll take the scanner, we'll scan the intermediate lift, and then create the surface file to make sure all the tie-ins match with the design. So it's just kind of neat ways to utilize the software in different ways.
Maybe something else to add too overall is the fact that we use the variable depth milling feature in Richmond. City of Richmond has a number of roadways, so we're actively using that, and that's helping us out there. What's really exciting for all roads actually moving forward is we were just awarded one of the largest paving contracts in the Greater Vancouver area as far as a volume of tonnage to go. And just to put it in perspective, it's 2.5 times the size of what we just did on Highway 1. And that's for CXP, and it's for the Centerm Port. So it's the Port of Vancouver, where we have 125,000 tons or so to lay down, and we've got to grade it. So we're going to be grading it. We've got concrete works. When we think about technology, we'll do stringless curb and gutter. We'll go out with our graders and we'll use millimeter GPS. At the end of the day, we're going to try and factor in that we got 70,000 tons of full depth milling to do there as well. And then all this paving. So 2021 is going to see this technology get used a lot here locally. We're going to learn some things through the process. We know that already, but we're committed to utilizing it. And a point of interest with the Centerm expansion is the fact that at the end of the day, we have to deliver as-built to them to show them what our final grades of the actual pavement surface is. So you can imagine what technology we're going to use to be able to show them that versus the old school way of going out there and doing as-built information. So it's going to be exciting, and we're going to push this technology to a new level. And I personally want to thank Denis Labelle as my partner, who really did embrace technology at an early stage and through determination. And it took a determination for sure. It did, being a great cheerleader through to our superintendents, which then got passed down to the foreman, right to the guy who's out there shoveling his heart out every day. Everybody buying into the use of technology has been amazing. And that's why he's my partner, because I knew that to begin with.
That's awesome, Rod. And I'm going to ask you guys a question. One of the things we're seeing here in the States is they're asking us, as far as RDMC, to actually record the as-built as it's being laid. Are you guys seeing that the MOT up there is kind of going down that road, or what is your thoughts there?
MOT is not going down that road yet.
Okay.
It's baby steps for them, it seems. They're, as an authority, I mean, they all mean well, but they're such I guess, an organization that what they have to try to do is they have to have consistency throughout the various provinces. So one paving contractor doesn't have some kind of an edge over the others from a competitive perspective. So they're very careful. But what you will find is projects like the Port of Vancouver and the Centerm expansion that we're talking about for
Yeah.
sure. That's definitely going that way where we do need to produce as-built when we're done. And when you
Okay.
think about the way a port is built, it has to have like minimal fall, because when they stack all those containers up on top of each other, they can't have the whole thing leaning too far. So they design it with minimal, like 0.5% of fall. And at the end of the day, sure, they go out there and they look for puddles, but really they want that as-built information to come back to prove that we were able to meet the specs. And grading, of course, is important, but really they don't care how well it's graded. They care how well it's paved. And we know they all factor into each other. But at the end of the day, they're going to ask for that as-built information every day on the final surface.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that job there, I think, is 5 millimeters over 3 meters is the tolerance.
Okay. Let me ask you, just to kind of conclude this, if there was some of the pitfalls of what you guys went through as far as, learning new technology, where can Brandt and Topcon get better as far as getting you guys embraced in it, understanding that you guys invested in it and you went forward with it on this project, but we try to get better. I know that Topcon does, and I'm sure Brandt as well. But where do you guys say that, we have some improvement areas that you guys would comment on?
I mean, for me, I don't have a lot of negative comments. I mean, it's such new technology. I think it was pretty impressive that we pulled it off, to be honest. It's nobody's using this technology, so you don't really have a template to follow. I like to think we created the template to follow, but all in all, I think we all understood that the technology was new and that we were going to fumble here and there, but everybody was prepared to handle those situations, and everybody was kind of at the phone or on the computer waiting for us to ask our questions so they could be answered. So I was quite impressed with the whole team, from the Brandt team to the Topcon team. We did have some design issues, and it took some of our guys a bit more time to understand certain aspects of the design. But once they got it, I mean, it's we're doing it all in house now. We don't even call you guys anymore, because we have a pretty good understanding of how it works. So I think you have a good team that understands the technology, and you guys did a great job teaching us. So I think it would have been even easier if we would have been able to have some in-person training, but everything considered, I think it was a good experience.
Yeah, I can echo Denis' comments there for sure. I think moving forward, because everything he said was complimentary and well deserved from Brandt and Topcon. The key for us as contractors, though, is we're in a high stress environment. You know that, and timing is always so critical for us. So making sure that your people, whether it's Brandt or whether it's Topcon, are available when we need, that's actually the most important thing, because we might go months so we don't need you, and then all of a sudden, boy, we have a challenge, and it's like all hands on deck. And we had these discussions with Brandt, with Mark Piotto and the whole team, saying you need to be available. I don't think I could have made it any clearer.
No.
But he got the point, and he did make the team available, and sometimes in some highly stressful situations. I mean, we did 2 weeks of data processing, and it was cram that data processing in. And that, unfortunately, moving forward, that's probably how it is. It's always at the last minute and needing to be very timely. So you've done a great job. Thank you for that. Keep it up.
Thank you, Rod. And I appreciate both you and Denis' comments, and Brandt's, they're top notch and great partners of ours. So we look forward to it. We're going to continue to get better. Thank you so much for your time today. We couldn't ask more from a contractor such as yourself, and we certainly look forward to the future and what we got, we can jointly do together.
Yeah, this whole experience for me makes me look forward to the next big thing.
Yeah, thank you, Danny. That's great. For sure.
Thank you for having
guys,
us on the podcast. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thanks, guys.
Hey, if I don't talk to you guys before, have a great Christmas. Can't look forward to the next new year. 2021 is going to be much better than 2020 was. I can guarantee that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Here's hoping, for sure.
Yes, sir. Guys, hey, look forward to it. We'll talk soon.
okay.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thanks,
Thanks.
guys.